So hi and welcome to the Data Explorers Market Update, where today I'm going to try and give a little bit of insight into what is happening in the Eastern European banking sector and the emerging markets, because I was lucky enough to be a guest of Romania with my wife over the Easter period, and sort of can give you a bit of an eyewitness report as to sort of the interconnectedness of a lot of the European banks. And this is on the news that a subsidiary of SocGen, which is a big bank in Romania called BRD, announced that their first quarter profit was 39% worse than anticipated. I'm not sure that's a very big part of SocGen's overall global business, but it's still noteworthy to see how some of these European banks, whether they're going to be sort of losing performance in a place like Romania, which is 30% unemployed. It costs you about 14% interest to borrow, and everyone is having a very, very difficult time as a result of the credit crunch, and everyone is very leveraged. We saw thousands of half-built houses, and it reminds me a little bit of what the Irish banks must be like, who are long as mortgage collateral, lots of unfinished properties that are not worth anything, and the people who borrowed money can't pay them back. So it's a beautiful country, Transylvania, Dracula, etc. So let's go and have a look at some of the Greek banks, because they are very present in Romania, but there's lots of short covering in the Greek banks. Now, I know shorting is complicated in Greece at the moment from a legal perspective, but if you look at Alpha Bank, National Bank of Greece, Piraeus Bank, short interest is all 1% or around there or less, and has come down quite a lot over the last 3 months. Although the share prices for most of these are at new lows, so there's nothing kind of stopping the decline there. Austria's Raiffeisen Bank, that actually is quite interesting. That was obviously, I saw their yellow logo all over Romania. Short interest is at a 6-month high of 3.5%, which is a large amount of the supply for Raiffeisen Bank. OTP Bank, the Hungarian bank, opposite situation. It was a massive short position of 14%. That's now down to about 5% as the shares kind of rebound. SocGen, as I just discovered, low short interest in SocGen. They own a big bank in Romania that's not performing very well. Could that be the bellwether for other Romanian banks? UniCredit in Italy, again, low, but a little bit of short interest in UniCredit, but still quite low because they're also present. So what else is happening? What's kind of going well in somewhere like Romania that is really, as I said, struggling? Communism until 1989, and then everyone kind of like geared up a little bit, only for the credit crunch to hit. Well, people are using telephones, the mobile phones, and even the odd iPhone are pretty prevalent. So, and Vodafone is one of the dominant companies there, but no one is shorting Vodafone. Finally, the Dacia, which is a sort of symbol of communism in effect, the very cheap car that looks a bit like a boat that Renault now own, the Dacia, and they brought out the Dacia Logan recently. I did see these absolutely everywhere, and these are the cheap and cheerful cars that everyone is buying. And short interest in Renault is pretty low, and no one seemed to have made any money when Renault slipped from 50 euros down to 35 euros over the last couple of months. The Dacia, I mean, filling up petrol is extremely expensive, which is hurting. The minimum wage is about 300 to 400 euros a month, equivalent in Romania. Probably costs you 30 or 40 euros to fill up your car once. So around 10% of the monthly minimum wage is just one tank of petrol, which puts things in perspective for us. I recommend a visit to this country, and I also recommend reading my report. As usual, it is at dataexplorers.com/news.
Cut.